Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Jacqueline. I'm a third grade teacher. I teach here in Louisiana and I'm going into my third year of teaching. I've been getting some messages lately from you guys, maybe sharing that you're studying a different field in college, but that you feel a pull towards teaching and you're wondering if you should go for it. So I decided to make this video about the pros and cons of being a teacher. I want to be as honest and as real as possible because I know I love making my teaching vlogs fun and fun to watch. But teaching is also very, very hard and requires a lot of dedication and a lot of patience. So I decided I'm gonna make this video about the pros and cons of teaching, and then you guys can decide if this is a good fit for you. So I hope that you guys find this video helpful, and if you do, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Okay, well, I'll start with a con that I learned very early on, and that is that teaching is only 50% of the job. So for me, I knew I wanted to be a teacher because I love to teach and other factors, but early on I realized it's not just teaching at all. And in fact, teaching is probably only 50% of it. The other 50% is a lot of paperwork, a lot of meetings, staff meetings, IEP meetings, meetings with your principal, lesson planning, grading, a lot of paper flow, collecting data, progress monitoring, a lot of testing, stuff like that. So just keep in mind that when you do become a teacher, it's not just teaching. It's teaching plus a whole bunch of other work. An obvious pro is teaching kids. Teaching kids is so incredibly rewarding. There is no better feeling than when your kids learn something new for the very first time, or even when they're having difficulty understanding something and they finally do. That's just the best feeling ever, and for me, that outweighs all cons. In the beginning of the school year, when you first get your students, you'll quickly figure out what they don't know how to do yet, and then at the end of the year, it's just awesome to see all the growth that they have made. For example, now their multiplication skills are sharp. They know how to write in paragraphs now, all that stuff. It's just really cool to see the progress and the growth that they have made. A con is that you will work way more than your contract hours. For example, grading at home, figuring out holiday activities. I always do that at home and not during my contract hours. Also, like pulling more resources when your students aren't really understanding the lesson and you realize you need more. All that usually happens outside of your contract hours. Especially if you don't use your time wisely at work, let's say for your breaks. I totally understand it when teachers, go off site for their break because they need a break. We deserve a break. But also if you choose to do that, then that means you have to lesson plan at home, at night, and who wants to do that, So definitely choose your time wisely at work, but also even if you do, know that you will work outside of your contract hours anyway. But a huge pro is that we have a summer vacation and we have holidays off. So that is a huge blessing because after a whole school year, I am so drained. I am ready to rest a bit and reflect and get refreshed for the upcoming school year. So I think that is a huge pro. I don't know any other jobs that you have a summer vacation. So I think that's a luxury and something I'm super thankful for. A huge con is that if you don't have good classroom management, then you're going to hate your job pretty much. My first year of teaching, I would say my classroom management was awesome. It was great. And because of that, I was able to teach for the full period. And because I'm able to teach the whole time, well, then that means the students are able to learn the whole time. And that was awesome. Now, this year, my classroom management was not as good as my first year. And I think it had a lot to do with getting a lot of new students all the time. Because this year, most of my students started virtual school in the beginning of the school year. And then throughout the school year, parents were taking their kids out of virtual school and then into in-person. So I had a lot of new students trickling in this school year. And it was just hard to maintain that because as soon as they would come in my classroom for the first time, I'm busy trying to catch them up academically to the lesson that we're at. I'm trying to figure out what they don't know yet. I'm trying to get them on pace with us. And I'm not really thinking about catching them up with procedures. So they kind of have to catch on by themselves of like what to do with their exit tickets after they finish that, or how to get in line, stuff like that. So my concern and my priority was that getting them on pace academically with us. And I totally didn't even think about, wait, they should probably know that they're not allowed to do this, or they can only do this at this certain time. They can't sharpen their pencils in the middle of class, stuff like that. So I think because of that, my classroom management wasn't as smooth at all compared to my first year of teaching. And because of that, I would have to spend some class time correcting certain things and maybe disciplining a little bit. Yeah, it was just kind of hard with all the new students trickling in. So I didn't get to enjoy my job as much as I did last year because I didn't get to teach the whole period and stuff like that. So if you don't have good classroom management, you will find yourself doing a lot of disciplining and correcting during your teaching time, which stinks. But a pro is that if you have great classroom management, then you will absolutely love your school year. And I think that's why I had such a great experience my first year, because I had good classroom management and every day was so smooth. Everyone's relationships were positive, and yeah, there really wasn't much to correct. There wasn't a lot of chaos in my class. So if you have good classroom management, you're gonna really enjoy going to work. But if you don't have good classroom management, then you might not want to go to work every day. An obvious con is that teachers do not get paid a lot. Everyone kind of knows that we practically work for free. I'm telling my parents that I was changing my major from business to education. Obviously they had some concerns and, they're like, are you sure you want to do that? Obviously out of love and care, but yeah, it's not so fun and exciting telling people that you're a teacher, that you're studying teaching. I think a lot of people look down upon it, and maybe that has something to do with the salary. I'm not sure, but yeah, it's an obvious con, and most teachers have a side hustle because of it. So if you know any teachers that have a second job or a side hustle, please support them. And then obviously my favorite pro is building and having a class family every year. I think there's nothing better than working with kids. For example, my husband works in a cubicle. He works in front of his computer all day, and he works with adults all day, meetings all day, phone calls all day. And to me, I would hate that. I could not imagine anything more miserable. But for my husband, he loves his job. So I prefer working with kids all day. I prefer being in my classroom, building this class family. And I think there's nothing sweeter, because for real, they're gonna remember you forever. I know I remember all of my elementary teachers, so I think that's a really cool thought, that you will forever be remembered in a child's life. It really is as good as you make it, because I definitely remember teachers that clearly hated their jobs, but I also remember those teachers that really tried hard to make each day fun and fruitful. So that's what I want to be remembered as, and I just think that's really cool that it's really up to you to make it what you want. I think there's actually nothing better than those sweet, special bonds that you make with your students. One huge con is the pressure of standardized testing. But not just that, there's beginning of the year assessments, end of year assessments, progress monitoring. You also need your own grades. So for me, I needed 9 grades for each subject for each 9 weeks. So that is 1 test for each subject each week. So if I teach 5 subjects, then I'm giving 5 tests that week, every single week. And sometimes that's hard to do whenever you have a short week. Let's say you have Thanksgiving break Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then you only have Monday and Tuesday. Well, you kind of still have to give out a quiz that week because you have to meet those 9 grades. There's a lot of pressure that goes into that. And then a pro for me is that it's a really fun job that keeps you busy all day. So yes, you're on your feet all day, you're walking around all day, and you're talking literally all day, but I would much rather that than, an office job. It's a personal preference, but for me that's a pro, that it's a busy, active job, and like I said, it's as fun as you make it. So yeah, you can plan every lesson to be as fun as you want it to, and that will make your day go by real quick. So I like that. I like being busy all day and having fun and being with my students all day rather than any other job. So that's a pro for me. And every day is so different. So you'll never, ever, ever get into a boring cycle because every day is so different, every year is so different. So that's kind of a highlight for me. So those are my pros and cons. I have found that my pros far outweigh the cons. So that's why I love teaching, and that's why it's a good fit for me. So if you have any pros and cons that you'd like to share, go ahead and leave a comment down below. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. I will see you guys later. See ya.